Hey everybody. Hope everything is all right. And we are live. And my first beer for today is a Trois Pistoles. Trois Pistoles is a city in the province of Quebec. Welcome everybody listening to Voice of America French on 11900. I haven't had time to explore the B18 schedule season too much. And here we go. Just lower that a little bit. Welcome everybody. Nice to have you everybody on board. Got the tablet here. Everything ready for a live show. Checking out what stations we're listening to. We'll prevent this from actually ringing. And hey everyone, welcome aboard. This is the Shortwave radio show. We are Friday, November 2nd. Incredible. Month of November already. Hope you guys had a great Halloween search for pirates. I heard there's a lot of activity. And a few people said, hey, you missed tons of pirates, including Wolverine on Halloween evening. But I got to say, I had the concert, the concert I went to, Roger Hodgson, Supertramp Breakfast in America, was amazing, and very, very happy to have gone there. And I went to a bar after that had a Halloween costume party and enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. There's so many great Halloween costumes. And came back home, I guess, about 2 a.m. on Thursday morning. Had a lot of fun, and it was really, really cool. So I did miss, for the first time in I don't know how many ages, pirates, but you know. So everybody, welcome aboard. There's a nice chat room. My name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. My first beer of the show. This is a show about radio. We're here every Friday, 2000 hours Universal Time. This is good. So, Richard Cook, nice to have you on board. To answer your question, it stays at 2000 UTC. I am not changing the time. UTC time is always 2000. Of course, that means that Eastern time here in Montreal, which is, it coincides with 4 p.m., it will coincide with 3 p.m. instead. So it's going to be an hour earlier standard time, but it's 20 UTC, so it stays 20 UTC. I'm not changing the UTC reference as the time to look at for my shows. So that's it. As long as you're on UTC world, you know when you have to listen or watch the show. Bobby Burgess from Morgan City, WA5107 SWL. Nice to have you here. Mad Boy, nice to have you on board. The Hidden Rabbit, nice to have you here. Elton Byington, nice to have you on board from Baltimore, K3JWA. Redelva65, good afternoon, nice to have you here. Matambali from Colorado, nice to have you here. William Helms from Florida, nice to have you on board. Matt from Denver, nice to have you here, KE0SFC, or also WA0080SWL. Mick H, nice to have you here. Max Edstrong, nice to have you on board. Jerry DX, hello there, nice to have you here. Leon Hutchison, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Anne-Sophie Day, nice to have you here, Anne-Sophie. Dan Walsh, greetings. Happy Friday from New York City. Happy Friday from Montreal. It's a rainy Montreal. Since last night, it's been raining all the time. I did go and take about an hour walk because I need to take a little bit of fresh air. But there's still some rain, and it's kind of cool. We're at 5 degrees Celsius, so, not even, we're barely making it to 40 Fahrenheit. Voice of Korea and French signing on 7570 says Richard. Hey, Radio Telescope. Nice to have you here. KC1HOX. Nice to have you here, Glenn. Mark Fisher. Nice to have you on board. Vianney Arsenault de la Gaspésie. Bienvenue. Welcome aboard. It's always nice to have you here from eastern part of Quebec. Rock Ristorante from Stockholm, Sweden. Nice to have you here. Risto, SM0SBT, Vancouver Island DX. Nice to have you on board, Brian. VE7AUL, VE7011SWL. Bobby Burgess said, I missed a heck of a lot of pirates. So, oh, that's interesting. Matt says there were pirates, but there wasn't a really impressive number of different ones. So I guess kind of a lot of the same ones. Handy, 2E0KKF, 8 p.m. in the UK, absolutely. So, nice to have you on board. So, of course, it stays at 20 UTC. It's just the reference to local time. It changes, honestly. Sheldon Harvey, nice to have you on board from Greenfield Park, Quebec. SWL60N, nice to have you here from Stockholm, Sweden, 9 Celsius. It's actually colder here now. Bobby Burgess says 64 Fahrenheit, 18 Celsius down in Louisiana. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board from Cape Cod. Matt says, compared to Halloween 2016, Halloween 2018 wasn't that busy. There was one point 2 years ago where there were at least 6 or 7 all at once. I think I copied that many in total this time. So there is activity, but maybe less than, sometimes there's the propagation aspect of it. I haven't checked, actually, the HF Underground website for pirate activity, honestly. But it's, it varies. Sometimes what makes the difference in the Halloween pirates is the specific Halloween pirates that might actually show up just for that night. Because there are pirates that just operate that night and that's it. Dan O'Brien, nice to have you here. KB6DAN. RT Gideon, nice to have you here. Randy from Riverside, California. Nice to have you on board as usual. What else do we have? Islander 101. That's nice to have you here. Below 30 megahertz. Nice to have you on board from Valencia, Spain. Don Stefano. Nice to have you on board from Frankfurt, Germany. Pretty cool. Registration information now available for the 32nd annual Shortwave Winterfest. So if you guys want to have a look, www.swlfest.com, www.swlfest.com for the Winter Shortwave Fest. Richard Cook says there's a fire trick on 5890. Let's check it out. If I hear anything here. Nothing. There's a very weak signal, but I don't know what it is actually right now. Jerry says 49.2 Fahrenheit there. Jack, N9IIF, nice to have you here. Luis Arevalo, nice to have you on board. The question is probably, Luis, what's the cost of a power station, maybe? Well, it depends what equipment they have. Some of them, probably are. There are some pirates are very low powered and with very minimal equipment. So a lot of them are probably operating with a very low cost equipment and makeshift antenna. Some are more advanced, so some like Wolverine that packs a really huge signal most of the time. They have a lot more power. That also means they probably have a lot more possibilities in what they own as equipment, and they put more money in it. And like somebody was asking last time, you know, what they would use as a transceiver for or a transmitter. Most of them actually run off amateur radio gear that's made to actually operate off of the amateur bands, honestly. Daxfire74, nice to have you here. Miki Dalmach, nice to have you on board from Alberta. He's just ready to to head out to the VE6JY antenna farm to DX the weekend with Don and Nigel. It's going to be nice. Roads are terrible with snow and freezing rain. Ooh, better be careful, my friend. But yep. Max Edstrong says, cool, great evening here in Michigan, USA. Radio on, TV on, Jill on the laptop. Life is good. Absolutely. Nothing like, you know, it actually I like when it's gray and cool like now. It's kind of fun. You do the live show. You are all a bunch of guys that just, you know, tuning in the bands and having fun. NL13851, nice to have you on board from the Netherlands. Says it's 3.3 over there. So, cool temperatures. Cool temperatures. So Spain, yeah, Spain back in English and French. And tonight is the night. I think it's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 2000 UT. 9690 is one of the frequencies I know. Dumb question. There's no dumb question actually, Max Edstrong. But what exactly is the definition of a pirate station? I guess at its most basic form, a pirate station is any transmission that is not licensed to operate. We could start by that basic knowledge. They don't have a license and the right to operate. Now there are other stations that actually do that and are not pirate stations, but a pirate station will give some form of programming, talk shows, music. I've heard of pirate stations that are digital pirate stations, doing digital transmissions. That actually would be a lot of fun if there would be a regular pirate digital station. You know, every time they would go on some weird mode and we have to find out what mode they are using and decode it. Oh, that actually, if any pirates are watching, I would love to try that, to decode any pirate radio transmission that would be in digital form. Hint, there's an idea here. If we start seeing digital mode pirates, we'll know that it probably comes from this show. But you know, it's at the most basic form, it's a unlicensed transmission, and most of what probably characterize a pirate station is the fact that they will have, you know, programming of some sort, music, shows, and often off-the-wall type of programming, depending on the pirates. Today, pirates are a lot more musical and a lot less original than there used to be in the past. There used to be some really original pirates in the past. One that was talking with Sheldon last week, that he mentioned was the WLIS, We Love Interval Signals, which was a very unique pirate station. And so, you know, most of it is unlicensed transmission and some form of programming that's going with it, honestly. PLF Radio, bonjour, bienvenue de la France, bienvenue. Bonjour du Québec. It's always cool to have you on board. But unlicensed broadcaster, pretty much. Matt says XFM has had a lot of power. They were like a shortwave broadcast station when they first came on. Unfortunately, the band went long, and I had to copy nearly the whole show from a Kiwi SDR in California. You know what? I suspect, and that's my own personal observation, that XFM and Wolverine might be on the same transmitter. And I've noticed one aspect of both stations that is exactly similar. I've noticed that when you listen in to, say, Wolverine, it packs a tremendously huge signal. And at some point in time, the signal suddenly drops. And I've noticed the same behavior of XFM. I was wondering if they use very high power, and when the transmitter maybe is overheating or something, well, they're maybe switching off whatever extra power they have and lower the power to cool down. I don't know, because both, and it's, and I didn't observe that once. I observed that behavior at least 4 or 5 times in listening to both stations. And it's not like a propagation type thing where, propagation slowly degrades. So the station starts strong, but it slowly goes down in power on the band. You hear it, weaker and weaker. It's really a drop off in power at some point, which really feels like I just switched off a power amplifier or something. I don't know. By the way, in this month's, I'll bring it up here. This month's spectrum monitor, for those that, let me just bring it up here. Spectrum monitor, if I can find the file manager to get the, there we go. So, of course, Spectrum Monitor, a great magazine. If you don't know what the Spectrum Monitor is all about, it's an amazing magazine for radio listeners. If you are looking for a monthly magazine, it's a great one. So this is November edition, which has a lot of very interesting articles. But as usual, they have the 2018 Scanner Radio Buyer's Guide. But they have a very interesting article on WBCQ, and it's just mind-boggling. I mean, I'll just show you the picture that they've, I think, taken from the Facebook page. But look at this. This is the picture they put for from the ashes of WBCQ. A giant rotatable antenna with a 500 kilowatt transmitter, and they say that it's going. There's a full article here about it, and they say that it's going to start its operation on 9330 kilohertz early 2019. So that's what we know from this article. Early 2019, they are going to apparently operate. So kind of interesting when you think about it, and it's mind-boggling, as me and Sheldon have talked a few times. It's for sure that guy doesn't have, Alan Wiener doesn't have the money to operate that, or to even set that up, because I mean that's multi-million-dollar operation there. The 500 kilowatt transmitter is brand new. It comes from Continental. And they did say it's brand new and it can operate on all frequencies on the shortwave band. And they say that even the antenna, the way that it's constructed, can pretty much transmit on any frequency. So, you got to think where that money comes from. There is a mystery behind it. And like I've mentioned, and we've talked a few times, I mean, Sheldon, possible U.S. government money going in there to make sure that something stays available in shortwave bands. I was thinking, because Monticello, Maine isn't that far from the Canadian border, and isn't that far from Montreal, actually. And I was thinking, when they'll fire up that 500 kilowatt transmitter, what effect will it have here in Montreal? Because, I mean, it's a pretty strong transmitter. Of course, I'll be on the at 9330. I'm technically most of the time in the skip zone where I technically shouldn't hear much. But honestly, at the distance they are from here, 500 kilowatts, I expect 9330 to be listenable at a reasonable level in Montreal for a while. I don't know. Pretty amazing anyways. Fire Drake 9455. Let's check that out. Nothing here. 9535. Nope. They're not heard. They're heard in Europe, but not heard here. Bobby Burgess, speaking of pirates, what do you think that some but not all pirates are also hams as well? I'm sure. If you know, they're not all ham operators, but I would bet there are some ham radio operators that are pirates also. I wouldn't be surprised with that, honestly. And it would be a way to you know, easily have the equipment. And let's think about it. Like Matam Bali says, not sure if a ham would risk his or her license doing that. Honestly, on shortwave, you don't risk much, especially if you do it correctly. You know, one of the pirates that I have a QSL card from here that I talked about. We talked on MSN Messenger at the time, long time ago. I used to have. It's sad that I didn't keep that. I used to have at least 30 pirates in my MSN Messenger that would chat with me directly on the computer, and they would tell me when they were on. And one of them was telling me that he had the setup was in his truck, and that he would go out in a field somewhere that was pretty much, you know, where he wouldn't have any problems, and he would set up. He would start his fire station, run it for hours, 3, 4, 5 hours at a time, and just take everything back in the truck and head back home. And he would do that from different locations all the time. I mean, that you'll never get that guy, because I mean you'd have to wait for him and make sure that you start looking for him. It's kind of complex operation, and he would do pretty big distances too. Of course, you can pinpoint the vicinity. You can triangulate the positioning of a pirate, you know, but it's a rough estimation of where it is. And I mean, if it changes all the time, if you move, you know, 100 kilometers or 100 miles from one place to the other, it's once you're there, it's still a big territory, you know. So I would not be surprised, you know, because Matambali says not sure a ham would risk his or her license. It's like I always say here, there's a local Quebec Canadian ham. The guy lives, very simple, the guy lives in Laval, which is a city just across the river from Montreal here. Laval is just north of here. That guy I hear every night, or almost every night, on a net and the 80-meter band. And that guy's voice is so recognizable that I actually know it's him that operates on 27555, calling CQ Europe regularly in French for France and in English. And it's him. It's, you know, there's no doubt. It's the same voice. Technically, it's illegal to transmit on 27555. It is not a frequency you can transmit on here in Canada. And so he is an amateur radio license guy, but he does do an illegal thing by doing that. So, you know, I intentionally not mention the frequencies on the net in the evenings. I intentionally omit details because I want to have as little to do with the fact that it would lose his license or anything. And I don't want that. I actually, personally, I find, you know, amateur radio operators, there's all kinds of thinking. Even if I was a ham, I don't frown upon the fact that somebody operates a pirate station. I don't mind somebody going on the 11-meter calling frequency of 27,555. Honestly, I don't care. It's even the opposite. I kind of love it. It makes more signals for us to listen to. But yeah, there's amateur radio operators out there that are extremely, you know, on the dot of regulations and laws, and you should lose your license because you're doing that. I don't know how many times I've seen people just go nuts and say, wow, these pirates, you know, I had tons of emails and comments on my YouTube channel here saying, hey, you shouldn't promote pirate radio stations. Why not? I got no problem with them. Actually, I'll be honest, a lot of the pirates on HF are more civilized than some of the amateur radio operators I listen to on the HF bands. So, you know, it all depends on, we all have a different way of thinking on that, you know. Vianney says, just a bit of snow on the ground, just a little bit now, but they announced rain for the next days here, so springtime. We had a little bit of snow. It was white, well, last Sunday. Last Saturday night, it started snowing. And in the morning was white on the grass and on the cars. But it melted on Sunday. So, you know. Matt says, actually, I bet that the majority of pirates are hams. It's clear that the FCC isn't much interested in enforcing the rules on HF, as long as they don't interfere with Mars or utilities. That's pretty much it. You know, it's not like FM pirates. You know, regularly at the International Radio Report, Sheldon talks about FM stations, FM pirates that get busted. And I mean, if I would operate a pirate station, I would not operate in a medium wave or a FM pirate, ever, ever. Why? First of all, an FM pirate, well, that's the easiest way to get pinned down where you are, what's your location. First of all, it's easy to pinpoint where the transmitter is. And it's almost certain that somebody somewhere, including the big gun FM stations, will, you know, complain that, oh, there's this guy here doing this pirate thing, and, oh, he's interfering. And I can bet you half the time it doesn't interfere with no one, but they'll just say, oh, he's interfering with our signal. That I would never do. An FM pirate, whoa, man, I don't want to have anything to do with that. But honestly, if I had the equipment, maybe I would do a HF pirate station now. Who knows? Of course, I would not use my voice because everybody knows my voice from the YouTube channel. It'd be easy for everybody to say, oh, that sounds like Gilles on the pirate station. And so I would do something that you can't identify that I am, you know. But, you know, I'd be on an HF pirate if I'd be a pirate. Islander 101 says, bought a Texan 6PL600. I can only hear people on one band, but it sounds like there's a lot of people in the same numbers, so hard to pick anyone out and hear what they are saying. Okay, what frequency do you say that you hear on one band, and where do you live exactly? Are you close to any AM, FM stations? We need a little more details here to understand what exactly is happening at Islander 101. Juan Amigo from Barcelona, nice to have you here. Rock Ristorante says Greece strong as usual on 94.20. Let's check that out. 94.20. Yep, pretty good. with some Greek music. Greek music. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Sorry. What else we have? So, going down slowly. I'm far in the chat right now, so guys, hang on. Hang on. Raymond Challoner, nice to have you on board. And his grandson Edward in the UK. Hello there, Ray and Edward. Nice to have you on board. I'm looking in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And that's good. He's getting his grandson into shortwave radio. That's a really good thing. So, you know. Yeah, I do get that, Matambali, that if they would get caught, they would probably lose their... but, you know, on HF, honestly, it's... chances of getting caught are quite low unless you really, really are totally careless, honestly. Matt says it's a risk, but the knowledge that some of these ops display is pretty impressive. It's hard to imagine most of them getting that from books. Yeah. You know. Mad Boy says, still sad the only FM pirates are religious stations. You know what? I think we talked about that at one point on the International Radio Report. A lot of FM pirates, I think, just don't know that they're illegal. The religious station ones, I think they just put some kind of transmitter on with religious stuff. And a lot of them maybe don't even know they're illegal, honestly. Crooked Ninja 5, nice to have you here. Cheers. Richard in Atlanta, Georgia, nice to have you here, says tune your FT8 software to 10.136. A lot of stations from all over the globe. Pretty cool. Matambali, yep. Fading characteristics does match. As we're talking Wolverine and XFM. Omanix, hey there. Matt says Wolverine and XFM were on the same time and their signals were definitely not the same power. Okay, cool. Also, the reports were showing that they were being heard differently at other places. Cool. Cool. But Wolverine does power down. It kind of has a cutoff time where it actually goes down. Wolverine could be using a generator. It's possible, Jerry. BLF Radio, I missed your Halloween show. I wanted to see, although I knew when it was. So no problem, no problem. I can tell you that. Can somebody answer if a Kenwood THF7 is a good scanner? I don't know much about that that device. Bobby, is there a possibility that the use of handheld FM transmitters might be illegal to have anywhere in the world, including the US and Canada? You know, there's a very simple rule. There's a part 15 type transmitter, which means you're running maximum of 100 milliwatts, I believe, and a very, very short length antenna. That if you obey those rules and you don't interfere with anyone, you can technically, and I think this rule, at least in North America, this rule is pretty much in effect, meaning that a part 15 station could operate. And that's why you have these little low power FM transceivers or transmitters to put in the cigarette lighter of the car when you want to, you know, send your, for those that have older cars where there was no USB ports or anything in them, they would use an FM transmitter, plug in their MP3 on it, and listen to their music on their FM radio on a specific frequency. These are not illegal because they operate on part 15, very low power. I don't know if part 15, because part 15 rules are pretty much US rules, but I know that in Canada, part 15 type rules apply also. Does that apply everywhere in the world? I don't know. I don't know. Rolling through life, just purchased a realistic DX400 at a thrift store, perfect condition. FM works great. I know nothing about shortwave. there a frequency I can enter that is working to be sure the unit works? Where are you located? Try Greece, 9420, 9420. If you're in North America or in Europe, you should hear Greece. Pretty much almost everywhere. Where are you located, Rolling Through Life? That would be important to know where you are, though. If you're on the West Coast, Greece might not be very strong. Okay, that's interesting. Matt says, Red Hat, the operator for XFM, welcomes contact too. Wolverine doesn't. Red Hat goes on in the Moonies, sometimes of HF Underground. Said he went out with him once. Wolverine operates out of his home, I'm positive. Okay, cool. Okay, in Florida, you should hear Greece on 9420 pretty much, I would say. I'm pretty sure. The problem with Amazon, though, for the books part, there's so many. There's so many old books. But some of them are still worth, checking out. Alfredo says, shortwave transmitter you show in the picture are quite the same in center of France. Yeah, they look like the same type of, the Radio France transmitter site. Yeah, yes, absolutely. I don't assume most pirates are hams. I think some, I assume some of them are, but I'm not sure that, most of them are. Absolutely. Like Matt says, if a pirate is mobile, it would be hard to FCC to track. Shannon Harvey says, no, forecasters say 45% of a minor geomagnetic storming November 3rd when a stream of solar wind is expected to hit. And when I was reading this, Sheldon, I was thinking, wow, David should be here and read it. It felt like David giving the solar report on Sundays. God. So, I was talking about that yesterday in my little report for the weekend. There's a possible chance of G1 class geomagnetic storming sometime tomorrow or Sunday. So we'll see. Rick Satter, nice to have you here. Richard Cook says, Radio Cairo possible on 9900 with bad audio. Yeah. Very strong Spain, Radio Exterior de España 9690. And don't forget tonight at today at 2300 hours Universal Time. 9690 should be in English, and I'm listening to that tonight for sure. I don't know if I'll still be here. If I am, we'll check it out. We'll see if the show lasts 3 hours at least. There are chances, of course. Matt says, again, it's mostly a matter of resources or desire to enforce. The FCC goes after local FM part hard because FM broadcasts complain about them. Problem also is that FM, the FM band in many markets, like for example New York City, are probably very congested. Here in Montreal, you'll have a hard time finding an FM frequency that could be used for pirate transmissions. So what happens is if you do a pirate transmission and squeeze in somewhere, chances are there's a good chance you'll be interfering with local FM stations. One of the things also is that you got to some pirates were actually caught because some of them actually have really bad setups, and there were some pirates that actually got caught because they would have spurious transmissions in the air band, and that could be dangerous because it could interfere with aircraft communications. So there's also all of these things actually. I think the FCC, it's like in Industry Canada in Canada. I mean, gone are the days when there were tons of people working for these organizations. When everything was stripped down, it was like, well, okay, how many people do we really need? And you get 2 or 3 people working in an entire country almost. And they have to deal with everything that they're getting and that's happening. So they don't have the resource for anything. You know, if the FCC, for example, you know, they are the ones that are actually dealing with electronics that we buy, should not interfere with some specific devices. You know, when a utility puts a new wire out there, cable, fiber, suddenly your radio comes washed up with noise. That's not legal. The operation of that washing out HF is illegal. You're not supposed to be creating interference for users of certain frequency ranges. The thing is, there's no one. They can't do anything about it. There's just no one working. They're washed out. You know, they're just gonna say, well, what do you want me to do? And there's nothing we can do. AC Johnson, nice to have you on board. Matt says, last time I read an HF pirate being busted was Crystal Ship, and it was because someone in the pirate community ratted him out. The FCC will only go after some specific station or pirate station because somebody complained. It's as clear as that. Somebody complained, that's why. If nobody complains, they're not going after anyone. They're not even listening in, they don't care. Crooked Ninja said lots of hams don't follow FCC rules. That's true. You know, I mean, I've heard 80-meter band, you know, like rag chew, where people just talk and talk and talk and talk, and having like talk for 2 hours, and nobody identified with their call sign in an hour and a half, which is illegal. I don't know what's the time frame. I don't know if it's 30 minutes or something, but if you're just rag chewing between one another, you gotta regularly give your call signs. And so there's, you know, a lot of things like that. The other day, I was, you know, there's this rule, which is a very simple rule, honestly. Before you transmit on HF, an amateur radio operator should get on the frequency he wants to use. If he doesn't hear anything, he has to ask if the frequency is in use, and if that is negative, nobody comes back, okay, you can go at it. I am surprised with how many hams get on a frequency and just call CQ, and they've never checked for anybody. I mean, it's not because you don't hear anyone that there's not a contact going on right now. It might be that you're not hearing the other station that's talking right now, but somebody will really hear you. I can tell you that. And so many times I've seen that, and guy like, oh, CQ, somebody pops up and says, hey man, there's a contact here going on. And why didn't you just take the time to say, hey, is this frequency in use? There's so many of these little rules and little things that you look at it, it's like, come on, man. Matambali says, if a pirate isn't interfering with an important service, I don't think it's worth the FCC's time to investigate it. True. But still, I wouldn't risk my license. No, absolutely. It's a question of, you know, how dangerous whatever is. And do you really want to, you know, do I really want to to risk my license. That's it, you know. Nathan Bally he says, and plus I'd have to wear an eye patch and drink cheap rum. That, you know what, Nathan Bally? If you do a pirate station, wear an eye patch and drink cheap rum, and lots of it. I want to make sure I am listening into your pirate station. Imagine if I would do a pirate station and really get drunk like I do sometimes on the YouTube show here. Imagine nobody sees my face. I would blow it. PLF Radio says, Jill, I remember some pirate station rebroadcasting. Yes, it happened many times. Pirates rebroadcasting the audio of my YouTube show. Absolutely. I don't know if it's still on, but 7365. Anything here? Yep. Something on 7375. China Radio International on 7285. Robert Prosper has been as high as 70 degrees in New York City in the past few days. Wow. We barely went to, I'm not even sure we went to 50 Fahrenheit here in Montreal. New York isn't that far away, you know. It's crazy. So, Bobby Burgess says, would love to see a pirate radio raid go sour against the FCC of BI. That would be, you know. Actually, I don't like rum. Mountain Valley, don't worry. I don't like rum. I don't like rum, whiskey, stuff like that. I just can't. But a friend of mine told me once, hey, I've got a spiced rum that's really, really good. And I said, oh, man, don't give me that thing. I can't. Don't give me that crap, please. And he said, just taste it. If you don't like it, it's okay. And for the first time in my life, I said, wow, this is surprising. I think the cheap rum is really horrible. But when you get the good stuff, it's different. Yes, the relay station was streaming my show. Absolutely, the relay station. They were here on Pirate on my Pirate show. They were on 6880. We had the relay station on 6880 in the on the Pirate show on Tuesday. Steve Frost says, hello, good evening. Have you listened to Radio Caroline on 648 kilohertz, one used by the BBC World Service here in the UK, legally operating ship base now? Yeah, I've read all the story and heard all the story about Radio Caroline. I've never heard it personally, but it's one of those great radio stories. One of those great radio stories. Oh, I realize I'm really far from the bottom of the chat, guys. So if you say hi or anything, I am really, really back in the chat right now. Kimberly K6YYL, I say have you on board. Vienna, I do not agree with you, Gilles. Air frequencies are not public or private, which for me does not give the authorities to reprimand any station or operator on these frequencies over 27405. Yeah, but there's a regulation. There's still a regulation. Without a permit, first of all, without a permit, you can't transmit above part 15, which is a limit of very, very low power and short antenna. But even then, even if you are a licensed ham, you are not legal to transmit on 27555. It's out of the amateur bands. And I think the regulations, VNA, does state that you can't. You just can't. It's illegal to do so. Unless somebody can tell me other, I'm pretty sure you're not legal on 27555. Whatever, well, you know, unless you're 100 milliwatt. Robert Prosper says he ran a pirate station on both AM and FM when he was 11 years old. Same here. I had the 201 electronics kit from Radio Shack, and they had a little medium wave transmitter you could build, and I would put that up. But the only thing is, I was illegal, and that's when I was probably 11 or 12 years old, something like that, maybe 13. I was illegal because it would run on a 6-volt power source. I would plug in a 12-volt power supply, so 2 times more voltage, plus they gave you like this length of wire that was the maximum allowed. I would put that on a 50 feet piece of wire, and I could be heard. One of my friends, I would call all the time and say, hey, I'm running my station on what frequency was I using back then? I think it was 1100 kilohertz. I would actually go and check out with my radios to make sure I was on a specific, what frequency I was on. And then I would actually say, okay, I'm on 1100 kilohertz. I think I was using the home stereo we had. And I'd say, okay, I'm on 1100 kilohertz. And I would tweak, because, you know, it was impossible to know what frequency you were on pretty much on these things. And I would call my friend that would live the next street from where I lived, pretty much at the same level, but the other street. And he would call me. I would call him and say, hey, tune 1100 kilohertz on AM. And say, oh, I hear you. But I was very weak the next street, but he could hear me. And it was pretty much illegal. It's pretty much illegal. Yes, 100 milliwatts is legal. It is the maximum amount. It's a part 15. 100 milliwatts is legal pretty much on the interfrequency range. It goes with another rule. The antenna cannot be very long. It has a maximum length. So it's 100 milliwatts and a very short antenna. Mine too, Robert Prosper. Mine was music. I would put disco music, and Sheldon's going to be sad. I would put disco music. Duran Duran. I would put a mix of mostly, you know, pop music from the early 80s, I would guess. Dexpar 74. Cheers. Robert Prosper says, back then I dreamt of a souped up CB radio. I have no such dream today. You know what? CB in New York is a dumpster fire. When the flea market opened here, not very far from where I live, they had a place where they would sell electronic stuff, and they would sell these high power boosters for your CB that would give you like 500 watts or 200 watts. And I remember back then thinking, this could be interesting. I could pump up my CB to 500 watts and just, you know, blast a signal here. Radio Feta, Madagascar, 13710. Let's check it out. And it's there. It's not super strong, but it's there. What kind of beer am I drinking right now? I'm drinking a Trois Pistoles, and I'm pretty much done. So this was my first one. And I will already, after an hour, go to the The Blonde from Hell. Since we are in the week of Halloween, Blonde from Hell. MDK2 says, I think Wolverine is just being affected by the poor conditions, if like a rocket or something. Yeah, it's totally possible, Matt. It's totally possible. But I always found it kind of weird that it drops really fast like that. But it is possible. You know, totally possible. Hey, M. Blair, nice to have you here. KC5AJS. Pretty cool. KC9KUH, nice to have you here. PLF Radio says Greece is very strong, 94.20. Richard Cook's got a strong buzzer in 46.25. It's still early, but let's see what 46.25 has in store for us. Anything there? Hey, the buzzer! Can you guys hear it? Look at that. It's in the noise, but it's there. I am hearing the buzzer. 4625 kilohertz upper sideband. That's a pretty good DX. The buzzer from somewhere near St. Petersburg, I think, in Russia. And that can be very, very strong. So the buzzer coming in at 2100 UTC, pretty much. 4625. KC1HOX. Glenn says that drive-ins, church, schools, and fairs use part 15 FM. Max Armstrong says FCC used to have a listening post in Fenville, Michigan, about 20 miles from Grand Rapids. Big old brick building with massive antenna farms. KC9KUH says 9420 S9 here in Indiana. Cypher. Nice to have you on board on the mission of life and liberty. Thank you all for what you do. Rolling through life, 9420 got a 6/8 signal on meter, no voices, just weird tones. Something is weird, man. You should be hearing music. Robert Prosper says, even I can pick up Radio Greece on 9420 in Manhattan. KC5AJS. Wow, I'm really far in the chat, hey guys. Charlie Hustle 55, nice to have you here. Below 30 says, proud of what Radio Exterior España is doing. My taxes are paying that. Don't forget that that was in a bit of a disappearing a few years ago. Yeah, we were really close to totally have no Spain at all, not even the Spanish one. Richard Cook, Vietnam on 9730, very strong. Let's I think it's like 15 minutes or something. Oh, and the USA it's 10 minutes. And when you sign off, okay. Jerry says half hour to give a call sign. But, okay, so pretty much it must be 10 minutes because pretty much all of you agree. So Matt Mbali says 10 minutes. Matt, 10 minutes. Elton Byington, 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes you got to ID. And you got to ID at the end of the transmission. So, okay. Well, I've heard some that were an hour at a time without no ID at all. Moria 330, nice to have you here, says, I know there are issues with CB broadcasting out of range. Yes, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. Robert Prosper says, listening on his Grundig S450 DLX in an indoor random wire. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Got a chaos on 14313, Max S. Strong Talks. Yeah, absolutely. PLF Radio says Vietnam 9730, good signal. Pretty cool. Cheers from the Blonde from Hell. I won't drink too much of those. This one's a 10.5. This is a 10.5, but it doesn't at all feel like one. Except when you drink 2 or 3 of them and you get up to go to pee and you're like, whoa, okay. They are having an effect. Max says, Strong says, my hunch was the FCC was just glad that all the psychos were on one frequencies interfering with each other and bothering no one else. Well, that's one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it. Thanks, far as listening to 3955, KBS World Radio German. Cool. That's fun. That's fun. What else do we have? Crooked Ninja says, my electric company breaks FCC rules. They run a signal on their power lines to check usage. It's a nasty signal on lower frequencies. Here in the backyard, I suspect that part of my noise comes from the Bell telephone and fiber optic cables. I suspect part of it is that, honestly. Richard Cook says, Channel 292 has been testing 7440 earlier today. PSK is fun. I like PSK. But FT8 is amazing. FT8, you hear nothing by ear, and it's like, whoa. Matt says, with nearly everything alcohol, you have to spend a bit. Only one offers good bargains on the cheap, in my experience. Yeah, there's a, I like to drink, have a bottle of wine to go with dinner, or, and from time to time, actually regularly, once a week, I buy probably 1 bottle of wine a week. And there's this guy that is an expert in wine, and he's got every week he's got choices, and he's got high-end choices, mid-range, and the cheap stuff. And here in Quebec, wine is very expensive because the taxes on alcohol are very high. Now, a lot of people go crazy with that. Honestly, I don't mind. Honestly, you can tax alcohol. It's not something we have to drink. It's not something we have to do. And if you want to have money and the government wants to have money, I got no problem that they put taxes on the alcohol. A lot of people go crazy because, to give you an idea, a bottle of wine that will cost, in France, for example, a bottle that would cost in France maybe 15 euros would cost 40 euros, 45 euros, an equivalent here in Quebec. It's really much more expensive. But there's a very high tax rate for alcohol. And I got no problem with that, honestly, because it is true that alcohol does have its toll on society. And I got no, when in Ontario, they were talking about, dollar beer. Why? Why do you want to have dollar beer? First of all, my beer doesn't cost $1. And the one that I choose and I want to drink costs much more than $1 beer. And I don't see why. Because I think cheap equals a lot of drunk that just can't, they just drink like crazy, and they have a toll on all of us. And that's why, some people sometimes say here on the show, why are you drinking on the show? You shouldn't do that. And I'm like, well, I am what we call a social drinker. I like to drink in the company of people. But I don't drink alone. I don't drink at home. I drink now because we have a live show, but I do not drink in a regular day that I'm at home and doing stuff at home. Sometimes a glass of wine from the leftover dinner, but that's pretty much it. I rarely drink at home. And that's why, but I will say the same phrase. If there is some beer or alcohol around, I am tempted. And that's why most of the time I will buy, for example, this weekend's 2 shows. Most of the time I buy a 6-pack. I'd think 3 in one show, 3 in the next show. Nothing left. Little exception right now. I bought a case of 12 today because I wanted to taste the different options, and it's the only one that has the Blonde from Hell that I find kind of interesting. Maybe I'll be tempted to have another one later while I'm actually doing supper or something. But I'm more of a social drinker. I kind of don't drink alone. You know what, Max Headstrong? I don't agree with that. Cheap vodka does not taste good. I drink vodka with my brother, and cheap vodka doesn't taste good. Gary Stewart, nice to have you on board from the UK. Walkobot39, nice to have you here. Pretty cool to see everybody here. I've never had Heaven's Hill vodka in the US. I've got, yes, I've got a show tomorrow, Matt. 2000 hours UTC. Absolutely. But, you know, it's kind of interesting. Matt says, wow, 113 watching, now 127. We reached 133 at one point, which is not bad at all. Paul P. in the West Midlands of England. And I'm still amazed. I'm still amazed. I'm getting the buzzer. For 625 kilohertz. I'm getting the buzzer from Russia. That is pretty cool. Unknown station on 6170 playing some Arabic music of some sort. 6170. I don't know if it's still there. I'm far in the chat. I got nothing here. Nothing here. Stuart Hall, nice to have you here. Yeah, Duran. I can hear Sheldon cringing, saying, no, not Duran. Oh, man. Paul P., nice to have you here. Robert Prosper still has a 201 kit. I wish I had one. I like those. I would like to have one in a box. You know, like workable. These were fun. They actually made me learn tons of things about electronics when I was young. And they were a lot of fun. My first Radio Shack electronics kit was a, so it's a boring, it was so funny. It's a very boring weekend at uncle's place, one of my uncles. And, you know, you're a kid, and you got to deal with your drunk uncle and drunk father, and life is like, what the hell am I doing here? But you gotta, because you're 12, and it's like, you're coming along. We're not going to leave you alone at home at 12, because I was kind of a, you know, I was, at 12, I was still not, you could leave me alone. And I remember my uncle had given me $50, which was a lot of money. And they would live a corner street from a shopping mall in Quebec City. And so I went to the shopping mall because it's like, okay, I'm bored, and we're staying the weekend there. We would sleep there in the Saturday night into Sunday and come back home Sunday night. And there was a Radio Shack, and I got into the Radio Shack, and I looked, and there was a, well, 20, how many was it? 25-in-1 solar kit. So it was a little kit, 25 experiments, had little solar panels, and I think it was a 25. I'm trying to remember how many experiments in there. Something like 25. and it was on sale like at $20. And I thought, this looks like fun. I also thought this is going to be entertaining while everybody gets drunk and it's super boring. And I brought that back. And I can tell you, even though everybody was drunk, I had one of the best weekends ever. I did all 25 experiments. I was finding this thing so cool. You would build a little radio that would work on solar power, an AM receiver. Man, I had so much fun with that kit. I was just amazed. And came back from that weekend and was like, wow, this is so cool. This is so cool. That's when I had the 200, because I came back and there was a 200. It was a little expensive. And the 200 I got at Christmas. I had a lot of money given from, uncles and whatever. And I went to Radio Shack and I bought the 200 one, which was blue. I remember it was blue. I had a lot of fun with that 200 one. I probably did every experiment at least 3 or 4 times. I had so much fun with that. That was I already had some knowledge in electronics, but that was really a start of something. So TOT, now, how are you? I'm doing fine. Nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Zacharianto, nice to have you on board. What's a scary scenario involving a radio that would make a good horror movie? I would do a movie involving something like the buzzer, that you somehow okay, that would be a good movie. A YouTuber that does radio live shows one day posts a video online of the buzzer giving instead a series of mysterious numbers. And then the guy posts a video, like a genius type of guy, posts a second video and saying, hey, I just decoded that signal and it means the start of World War III. And then you get chased around and everything. That would be great. And I'm sure everybody in the chat room would like to see that movie. And, it has a radio side to it. And it'd be, chasing the radio guy. I'd be happy to do the radio guy that they're chasing around. So how about that for a movie? Hey, Hollywood, I'm here. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, Matt, absolutely. Amplified CB, Super Bowl channel, all of them are using kilowatt. Absolutely. Absolutely. Theo has a 1 kilowatt using dust. Want to send it to me, Theo? Just a thought. Kane from Australia, nice to have you here. Jagged Tiger, nice to have you here. The beer name is after Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction. Blonde from Hell, probably. Oh, God. For Europeans, KBC starts 1300 UTC, followed by shortwave radio 1400 UTC on Saturdays, 9400 kilohertz. Cool. Let's go down a little bit. PLF Radio says, real great, the buzzer during daytime. Well, sun is setting in half an hour, so we can't really say it's daytime. Charlie Ussel, 8 over on Baltimore, 4629. Wow. Robert Prosper, I think if I found in my own shortwave station, I'd give it a name that had something to do with blockchain. I'm surprised no pirates have come up and said this is Bitcoin radio or something. I guess they're not computer geeks. This is Bitcoin radio. And you could run a digital signal that would actually infect PCs that try to decode it. Oh God, that would be something. Finding a flaw in like FLDG. That's my tech geek side that's talking now. Yeah, absolutely. Elections in the US, midterm elections. Wow. Vancouver Island DX says XFM sounded so professional on Halloween. I wonder if it was a day job as a radio DJ. Who else would bother with CQAM AM transmitter? Yeah, you're right on that. Richard says S06 on 5305. Johnny the Xer, nice to have you here. David in Barcelona, nice to have you on board. Nice to have you on board. Let's go down, let's go down, let's go down. Go down. KBS 3955 in French now with a very strong signal. Let's just try it just for the fun of it. I don't think I'll get it, but who knows? You know what? 3955 does have some signal on it though, but it's not strong enough. Oh man. Hey Scott Robson, nice to have you here. That's quite alright, Robert Prosper. Dr. Pepper. It's quite alright, man. Oria 330 says CHU sounds better than 330 in USB. I think they have don't they have some kind of transmission mode that makes it, you know. Pyongyang on 6400 says Richard Cook. What is dollar beer? Oh, cost. Like malt liquor, yeah. Oh man. That's all right, you know. A lot of people. I was talking with Sheldon. We were talking about that a couple of months back. And you know, Sheldon doesn't drink alcohol, and it's okay. I actually have no problem with that. I've always been the guy, you know, at a party. There's always that guy that always like points to this guy and says, "Well, you're not drinking." Yes, so I've always been the guy that was like, "That's okay. He doesn't want to drink. He wants to drink Coca-Cola or water or whatever. That's fine." You know, at some point he'll get tired of all of us that are drunk, and that's it. It's okay. I got no problem with that. I've always been more offended at people that always tell others, why don't drink? No, they don't want to drink. It's okay. What's the problem? I don't see it there. I don't see that problem. Okay. Hey, well, I'm thinking about it. How about, if you guys want to help me out, don't worry. You can help me out with paypal.me/shortwave or at the Yahoo email that's here. It helps pay for the equipment, pay for the $200 internet and cable bill that I'm paying every month. If you enjoy what I do, you know, it's a great way to just, you know, help me out. There's also Patreon, and Patreon is a place where you can set up a monthly donation if you wish. Be careful how you set it up. Patreon.com/radio in computers. And of course, like I say, helps out with paying for everything, because this costs a lot of money to operate. And you know, the fact that I do YouTube, well, I was talking with a friend the other day. We were talking about an internet bill. So if I just strictly take the internet bill here, my internet bill runs at about 110 Canadian dollars per month. And that's only internet. And I was telling my friend, I said, you know why I paid that? Because it was like, why do you pay that? I pay that because I need a lot of speed for the output. I need more speed out. I am the reverse of everybody. People download more. I need more out than most people, because I'm sending out, you know, live streams. I also don't want to wait 3 hours for a YouTube video to be posted online. So of course I got to pay more, because that's to get a good, you know, outgoing internet costs a fortune. So, you know, all your donations, they help with that. And they help with, you know, maintaining a nice show that I think a lot of people enjoy. And, you know, I'll say it again. I want to thank everybody for last year, because in 2017, without the donations, I would not have been able to go through. The monetization on YouTube was so bad last year that I would I would not be here, I think. And the donations helped me complete that and make me continue. And I want to thank everybody that did so, because I mean, wow, without the donations, it's possible I wouldn't even be here now. Not that I don't wanna, but you know, you gotta live your life. I gotta pay the rent, I've gotta pay the bills, and I don't want to be living at home, you know, 24 hours a day. It's kind of fun to go out a little bit. Well, it costs a lot of money, and I decided my living comes from YouTube. So of course I got monetization, and I'll be very fair. Like I said, if you know, first of all, if monetization was really good, really at a point where I just am okay with it, I would not even ask for donations. It's this year is good. It still needs a little bit more to just be comfortable. So donations are helping out. And but you know, of course, if my monetization comes to a point where it's really, really nice, I'll not even bother anyone with this. So thanks everybody that donated, by the way. It's much appreciated. And I'm trying to go out here, because I always say in every show, less than 1% of everybody that watched gives something. Pretty much. And you know, you get 15. I was looking at the live show of a couple of weeks back. One of the first that actually reached 2,000 views in like 3 days. And on that live stream, I think I had 5 donations. So you know, it's not like people think sometimes, well, the guy has donations, he must have like tons of donations. It's like, yeah, I got some donations, but not a lot of people actually donate. And by the way, 2 things I want to say. Donations don't have to be in the form of money. It can be in the form of equipment. You got a radio to give? Send me the radio. I'll be happy. And if you don't have the electronic stuff for donations, just write to me on officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com, and I'll give you my coordinates, and you can send me a international postal money order. So enough about that donation crap and money. Unfortunately, you gotta live. I gotta pay the bills. Thanks for everybody that donated. Okay. What else do we have? Johnny Dietzer, me and my good buddy Weiser. There goes your marriage. Yeah, God. No, I'm not going to do it. No, Jerry. Case of 12 equals 6 per show. No, I'm not going to do that. Bill Mead, nice to have you on board. But let's think about it. Buck a beer. You get elected for buck a beer. It's pretty much like the Liberals that got elected in Canada for weed. Pretty much. Dave Todd, nice to have you here. Wow, $4.95 for 24. Darn. The Shortwave drinking show. No, not that much. Hey, I'm Apper from Moscow. Nice to have you on board. Eat pizza alone, yeah. Sakura DX, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Wow, from a ship. Oh yeah, you're on the ship now. Really nice to have you on board, my friend. Scott Robson can hear the buzzer in Northern Maryland. So the propagation is not too bad for the buzzer to come in North America tonight. This is cool. This is really cool. I like listening to the buzzer. I don't care if it's just a tone. It's DX. Thomas Snyder, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Well, nice coffee, my friend, my mapper in Moscow. Matt and Bali is 58 and still needs adult supervision. I pretty much do also. Matt had a couple of those Radio Shack kits. Yeah, those were fun, actually. Eddie Gallagher, nice to have you here. Have you ever heard the space station? Yeah, many times. Many times. Also, the amateur station on board the International Space Station with their slow scan TV. Absolutely. If you go on my VHF, official VHF UHF channel, just search for that, official VHF UHF channel on YouTube. You'll see a lot of my slow scan decals that come from the space station, Eddie. But I've also heard the space station themselves, the astronauts themselves communicating. So what else do we have? Let's go down. I'm far in the chat, I can tell you that. Walker Boss says, great idea, Jill, for a radio movie. Yeah, why not? 11610. Well, that is strong. That's KNLS. That Madagascar transmitter is amazing. Amazing. Krigan Ninja says, now watch World War III happen next week. Radio Romania 7375. Interval signal. Mad Radio DXer, nice to have you here. Vancouver Island DXer says, how do pirates like XFM avoid getting tracked down when give out phone numbers for listener call-ins? There's several ways you can actually have some form of call-in number without being the physical location. There are a number of services on the internet, actually, that can give you a number that you could call in, and it has nothing to do with your own. And so that is one way. And you know what? Like we were talking earlier, if nobody complains, honestly, if nobody complains, I think a lot of them, you know, will continue just broadcasting, and that's it, honestly. So you know, I think it's a question of just having you know, but most of them, you know, an email, or you can you know, just get on an email from, because even an email, just think about it. Take care, Sheldon. It was nice to have you on board. An email can be tracked down, honestly. So Radio Romania 7375.
In English for listeners in Western Europe and North America East Coast. We can also be heard on the internet at www.rri.ro Channel 1. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter and other social media platforms. Our programs are also TuneIn and via satellite Eurosat 16.
Radio Romania 7375 English. So, you know, even emails can be tracked down. I mean, if you use an email from home, your IP address is linked to it. They know pretty much where you are. All they have to do is ask the internet service provider who had that IP address at that time. And the ISP will just tell them, oh, that's this customer. So if it's an email, the best way is you use a VPN. Using a virtual private network, it's harder to get. It's not impossible, but it's harder to get, anybody to find you. And to get a phone listener call in, well, you can use one of the online services that gives you a phone number. I've used that once. They give you a phone number. It lasts for it depends how much you pay. It lasts for a certain time. That phone number isn't linked to you. It's just, somewhere on the internet. It's somewhere in the US, for example, that isn't your physical location. Ray Lyle, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. JD, nice to have you on board. Nice to have you on board. Let me just go down. I lost my space here. I lost my place here. Coming down, guys. So, what else do we have? So, JD, nice to have you here. East Coaster, Prince Edward Island. Nice to have that. I'm not even sure we had PEI ever before. We had Newfoundland. We had once a guy in New Brunswick. We got, I'm in Quebec, Montreal, but there's Vienna and the Gaspésie area. Sheldon and Greenfield Park, just southeast Montreal. We've got some Ontario viewers. We have a Alberta viewer. We have a British Columbia viewer. It'd be fun to have all provinces and territories. It'd be cool. Sakura DX is very cold on the deck, I guess. Hey, Brett Wayne, KC2 and XP, nice to have you here. PLF Radio says solar flux 66. Wow, that's low. That's really low. Nice to have you here, Sakura, and it's kind of unusual and just thinking about it that you're joining us from, a boat in the middle of the sea somewhere. Kind of cool, Yeah, they have some kind of weird. So as Matumbale says, CHU is DSB suppressed carrier, something like that. Yeah. Did I get your donation? Let me just check it out here. I will tell you in a few seconds. Yes, I did, my friend. Thank you very much. Thank you, MBaxter84, for joining Patreon. Cool. And yes, Rick, I did get your donation. Thank you very much. Pretty cool. Brian E. Chappell, nice to have your donation. I don't usually do this because I don't like too much mentioning who gives donations, and I don't want to have people feel. I got several donations right now, so thanks for thanks guys, much appreciated. Okay. Yeah, gray line right now. What frequency is North Korea right now? Can you give me a frequency, Richard? M. Blair says, KC5 AJS says, CHU is upper sideband carrier reinserted. So that's why it sounds better in upper sideband. So you're totally right. Yes, and there's an FSK data stream. Cool. Cool. Rio de Delgado, nice to have you on board, my friend. Pretty cool. Did you ever get a design for t-shirt, mugs, and pint? Yes, I do have designs. I am looking at something right now because YouTube has a it's brand new. YouTube has a service where I can actually have merchandise, and it's not everybody that gets it. You got to have a minimum. I got it on this channel. I got it on the Windows channel. Only 2 channels have it. And I can actually, for free, get that design, ask for what it looks like and everything, and then pay for whatever I need, depending on what people will want and so on. So again, hang in there. Something's coming up. I know it's a little long, but I can tell you, something's coming up. PA1WX, nice to have you here from the Netherlands. Man. Delgado says, what's the radio you're running on HDSDR? It's an AFEDRI, A-F-E-D-R-I. It's a long wave, medium wave, short wave radio, software defined receiver, and it's really, really surprising. So Gary says, good video from Gary in the UK. Cool, Gary. Steve Frost says, I get a lot of QRM on my CB radio, especially in a single sideband. I get a bad crackling noise, but I'm surrounded by solar panels. Interesting. Interesting. Ronald Zakala, nice to have you on board. So for those that have their shortwave call sign, what did you do? Was it the ARRL, through the ARRL or something? What's the what do you have to do to get your call sign? I've never applied for one, but I kind of find it cool that people have one. So Ronald Zakala wants to know, what does it require to get a shortwave call sign? Let's answer this question. All you have to do, I know, is just to you know, kind of ask for it. There's probably some fees, and that's it. You just register, basically. Dave Freeman, nice to have you here. Ray Lyle has his shortwave call sign, WA9211SWL in Southern Illinois. Pretty cool. Nice to have Dave Freeman from Queens. Pretty cool. Almost ready to put your radio online? I'm slow to do things. I know, totally know. Totally, I'm really slow to do things. Erdogan Hernandez, yes, you're in Canada. Absolutely. I forgot which part of Canada, though, Edward. Please share it. Lion Man, hey there. I'm really sad since now the radio wave is not clear and now less shortwave stations in the 80s, but how you radio work clear even that you are indoor? Well, my radios are plugged on a outdoor antenna, Lion Man. I have a 75 feet, roughly 22 meter long sloper antenna that is in the backyard. So what you see here in my office, the radio is actually on that part of the room. It's connected to my router. This software-defined receiver is actually a receiver that you can put on your network. But it's plugged with a 100 feet of coax. Maybe not 100, but I would say a good 80 feet of coax into the outdoor antenna in my backyard. So it's shielded. It's shielded indoors. The antenna is outside. And that's pretty much what you have to do. An outside antenna is a good requirement, honestly. Michael Ketchell says, was just listening to the buzzer in 4625 upper sideband on his ICOM R30 with just the telescopic whip in the UK. Pretty cool. Yes, the signal in the UK is usually really strong in 4625. How do you like your ICOM R30? By the way, there's a full review of the ICOM SCR30 in the Spectrum Monitor this month. Take care, Sakura.dx. Always nice to have you here. Hey, Bullfrog, KD2CXU from Albany, New York. Dave Freeman says, may I suggest you start a GoFundMe page? Might be better than PayPal. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, donations, I am working really, really, really hard to stop annoying everybody with it. You know, I get I get some ranting about it. People saying, well, you got YouTube monetization, stop asking money. What I don't like also is the fact that there's one of the major points with donations I don't like is, like I mentioned a few names, but I don't like doing that because I don't want to have people that didn't donate feel like, well, I feel like crap because my name wasn't in there. So I try to avoid mentioning most of it because, I understand that some people ask, did you get a donation? Because honestly, if you're about to give out money, one of the things you want to know is, did my money at least get there? Because nobody wants to lose money. Honestly, I'm trying. I just got this week I got a pop-up from YouTube saying, hey man, you got the super chat where people can pay to be prioritized or be in first in the chat room or be like identified as, so you can see them. I don't like that, and I got people saying, hey, why don't you have super chat? I guess I don't like having somebody feel more important because you paid to give me a message on the chat room. There's something about the being, look, I said earlier less than 1% people give donations, but honestly, I do not require them, and it's okay if you don't. Some people don't have the money for it, and even if you have the money for it, if you don't give money, it's okay. I totally get it. I got no problem with that. Yes, I got YouTube monetization running. There's money run. I'm getting a paycheck off of Google every 21st of the month. It's YouTube stuff. But I don't like having that iniquity. Trying to, well, you gave money and you didn't, and I don't like that kind of thing. I don't feel comfortable in that kind of way of doing things. Personally, I would rather if somebody, and it's not a rant or anything here, it's okay. I mean, I know some people are happy to like, and some people will actually use that, trying to promote, hey, let's give this guy more, because somebody will say, oh, do you get my donation? And sometimes that also means that person wants to kind of say, well, I gave a little something. How about you guys? How about helping out that guy from Montreal doing radio shows that we all love? And it's fine. But I like the more discreet thing, like, send me a little private message, a little email, and say, hey, do you get my donation? Because I also get it. If you're giving out something, you want to know that I got it also. Make sure it went to the right place. But anyways, enough talk about money. Enough about money. It's part of our world, unfortunately. Hey, Danny, nice to have you on board from Australia. Nice to have you on board from Australia. What else do we have? What else do we have? Let's go down. Then he's using NordVPN. Okay. Vancouver Island DXer says, please remind your subscribers that November is Antenna Awareness Month. What does that? It's interesting. Okay, I didn't even know that there was such a thing. And what does it mean? And can you just sum up what is part of Antenna Awareness Month? Because I didn't even know that it existed. Yeah, Danny, we're all hoping for Radio Australia to come back, but I'm not sure that it's it's never going to move on. It's never going to move on. Mike Saka, nice to have you here. Take care below 30 megahertz. Always nice to have you on board. J. Watterson 69. No, I know there's several things. There's one thing that I don't like. You know what? Okay, now I'll be very honest with YouTube. I mean, it's funny because YouTube sent all creators like me an email saying, "Can you please stop ranting about YouTube?" And I'll be fair. YouTube is amazing for what it is and what it does, and we got to give YouTube. You know, without YouTube, I wouldn't be here. There's no other platform that has the flexibility and the monetization possibility that YouTube does, and it's very fair. There's nobody else that does it. But that said, you know, I don't think I really appreciated getting a YouTube email saying, "Hey, you know what? Stop ranting about YouTube, please." It was a very general email. I mean, it's not personalized to me. But in the past couple of years, a lot of YouTubers came out and said, "Look, you know what? We're kind of fed up with the way we're being treated." I had a couple of videos talking about it, and I had a couple of rants on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, about how sometimes we get fed up with all the rules and the regulations that come with YouTube. I mean, I got to be careful what I say, what I do. It's nuts. I mean, if you want to have advertisers on, now you got to be really careful with your words. So one of the rants is, man, YouTube, come on. I understand you're trying to protect yourself, but you're totally annoying all your creators. And I'm sorry, but if YouTube makes billions of dollars, I'm sorry, it's thanks to us. Okay? Because for those that don't know how it works on monetization on YouTube, it's very simple. Monetization on YouTube is 55% comes to me, 45% is going to Google or YouTube. Okay? That's the way it works. That's the way monetization is working with YouTube. 45% is a big chunk. Because if you look at traditional, like TV, for example, the revenue stream is very different. Creators get much more money. So YouTube gets a really big chunk, honestly. And YouTube makes money because creators make money. So when my paycheck, and every 20, because it's always the 21st of the month that they send out the money. So when I get my paycheck on the 21st, I got 55% of all the money that my channels actually created. And Google took 45% of that. It's not very far from 50-50. And if I look at my paycheck, I'm like, okay, let's take my paycheck, divide it by half, and imagine that there's hundreds of millions of YouTubers. I gotta tell you, sometimes you look at that and you're like, come on. But to add with what J. Watterson 69 is saying, there's a lot of new things that they're trying to promote on us. One of them is Premiere, like J. Watterson says. But you know what? I'm not dumb. There are things that are worth using. There are things that, I'm sorry, but it's just another way for, because they advertise it as, oh, hey, YouTubers, you can make more money. Yeah, you also can make more money because you're taking a chunk of everything and every little part of whatever we use. So at some point, there are things that, come on, you know? You think we're idiots or something? Anyways, I'll stop ranting. They'll cut my stream off. Klok Stopolovki. Sorry. Klok Zdopolovki. Zdopolovki. I gotta pronounce it right. Klok Zdopolovki. Hope I pronounced it okay. Nice to have you on board from Toronto. Okay, SWARL.org. Thank you very much, Mr. Blair, KC5AJS. So SWARL.org. Maybe I should apply for one. Honestly. Shitty Pyro 90, nice to have you here. Take care, PLF Radio. It was nice to have you on board. Tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. We have a live show again. Mario DX here. What about the very famous YouTubers who get fundraising by viewers during their streams? Your donations are most likely nowhere what they get in one live stream. Oh, absolutely. 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 But, you know, I don't want to talk too much about money, honestly. Okay? I don't want to talk too much about money because it's a very delicate subject, and I totally get the drift also of, you know, it's kind of sad and bad to at some point talk about money all the time. You know. Yeah, I know Tom Hammerad88 has his percentage of sales from the Amazon store. Absolutely. I did think about it for some while, honestly. I did really think about it for some while. So I don't know. We'll see what comes. Got a few ideas, and I would like to diversify the revenue stream because I've had my share of problems with I really had my share of problems with YouTube in the past couple of years, where there's a lot of things going on, and I had some really big problems, honestly. Some really big problems where monetization would be stopped for some reason. And, you know, it makes you think of what exactly do you do? What are you gonna, you know, do to if tomorrow my monetization stops, you know, I'm in deep crap. And I can tell you, I need to diversify to make sure that I don't fall on my ass if all stops. G. Brennan, nice to have you here. Yeah, gotta take it up. I'll be checking it out. Right now, my main aim would be merchandise of some sort. So you know what? We'll take a look at that. Come on, everybody, smash the like button. Authors, Ali Crafter's Kitchen and Audio Lab. YouTube treats everyone consistently like dirt. You know, not necessarily dirt, but it's heavy monetization for them, and it's complicated. Brett Wayne says, Chang your ropes so your antenna don't fall down in the winter. Ah. So every month is antenna awareness month. Technically, I invented it on my blog, but I can't really take credit for it because it's like a self-evident truth for all radio hobbyists. And talking with this, if you want to share your blog, I would be happy. In Vancouver Island DXer, you are a moderator. You have now been promoted to moderator, my friend, Vancouver Island DXer, Brian. You are now a moderator. Let's all applaud Vancouver Island DXer. And share your blog, man. Just put the link. I'll be happy to promote your blog. Cuban Lady on 11635. Really? Maybe it's gone because I'm too far in the chat, but says yeah, freedom of speech in the ham radio waves. Somewhat. You know what, Stopolovki? Somewhat. You can't always voice everything you want, honestly. Mix says, I meant to say earlier, but I enjoyed your grunting videos yesterday. You know what? It was so funny. I set up the old grunting in the kitchen For those that remember when I did my first live shows, I was in the kitchen on the dryer. I just put the radio on the dryer because it's one of the best places for the lowest noise possible in my home. I sat down in my chair. I just relaxed and was reading the spectrum monitor and tuning the bands on the grunting. And I know a lot of people love the videos of old receivers like that grunting. So I thought, okay, I'm going to post some of the stuff. Yeah, Mick, I can tell you, I pay a lot more tax than Google. I can tell you that. You're totally right on that. Big, giant companies like that, they pay nothing. And they get all of these, tax exemptions of some sort. Just crazy. XNADX, and hey, Keegan, nice to have you on board. In Arkansas, sunny. Here it's raining, cool, cold. Arthur's Autocrafter's Kitchen and Audio Lab. Greetings from Massachusetts. Listening to DX tonight on my newly restored Autocrafter's S38 with a 1925 Atwater Kent orange loudspeaker. That must be a lot of fun. Honestly, I would have a lot of fun with something like that. That must be so cool. That must be so cool. Do you restore them yourself, my friend? It's kind of cool. Bearware. Nice to have you here. What about the Texan PL 380 FM stereo? Yeah, through the earbuds. What is there about the FM stereo? Cuban Lady now on 10715. I'm getting a very weak signal. So what else do we have? You're a little far in the chat room right now. I'm trying to get down as fast as possible. Okay. The problem with these big companies is that Google, Facebook is very, very different from a lot of others, because the way it handles the data and all that's happening is very, very complex, and it's not necessarily fair. I don't know what to say about Google, and honestly, I know a lot about Google and about Microsoft because of personal things that I've done with both companies. And being somebody that worked doing things for these companies at some point, because I'm not there anymore at all. You know what? I think, and that's my personal opinion, because everybody has its opinion. Of course, Google's there to make money, okay? I mean, that's the basic of having a business. You gotta make money. I don't think Google intentionally does necessarily bad things. That said, they might be using, yeah, I'm hearing the Cuban lady. That they might be using. Yep, Cuban lady 10715. They might be using their immense power to sometimes not be very nice. And I would say, what is most scary? I don't think it's the fact that. I think it's the fact that what is the most scary is the hugeness and the huge power these big companies now have, honestly. So, Oh yeah, like Embler says, of course, YouTube is fronting all the host servers, and it's I'm here because of YouTube. I ain't gonna bite the hand that's feeding me. We can rant all we want. Nobody does what YouTube does the way YouTube does. You can, we can rant all we want. I mean, there's nothing else. Well, you know what, Jay Watterson 69. Here, I'll talk to you about YouTube creators. The YouTube creators, I won't talk too much about it because there's a legal issue where YouTubers and creators can talk too much about monetization from YouTube. In the contract that we signed on, we actually do agree to the conditions of monetization. The fact that YouTube pays creators less today per the same amount of view doesn't have that much to do. It actually has a lot to do with the what's broken in the ad platform on the internet. Much more than because the revenue stream, the percentage creators versus YouTube has never changed. It's been like that since the beginning. The problem is ads 10 years ago would pay much more because they would cost much more for the companies to hire on the internet. 10 years ago, ads, if you wanted to have an ad on the internet, it would cost you 3 times, 4 times the price that you're paying right now for the same ad. And the reason why is because several things have changed. First, what has changed is a lot of people are using ad blockers, and that is a very destructive thing for creators like me, because that means less ads are being viewed. That's why I was saying I don't mind that there's a ad blocker in your PC or your Mac or whatever. But I would say if you like a specific creator, if you like what I do, put me in your whitelist so that if there's a 6-second ad, you will at least see it. And at least I'll get some form of revenue on it. Now, the problem with ad blockers has to do with a lot of crappy internet ads and websites. Then I understand why a lot of people use them. What happened after that? There's a lot of stuff. There was a lot of controversy. You know, one of the biggest problems that happened, honestly, is the fact that a lot of the creators that did really extremist content, well, a lot of companies got mad and said, why do I have a Coca-Cola ad next to a video about some kind of extremist content or religious content? And if I'm Coca-Cola, I totally understand why you don't want to have an ad next to, you know, something that isn't totally right and very much family oriented. And all of that together kind of created a very bad environment for ads, and ads had a dip. In 2017, I felt a dip when a lot of advertisers decided that they would not put ads in front of whatever because, or they just pulled the ads. They just boycotted YouTube. I can tell you in 1 month, my monetization almost halved. Suddenly I was getting half of what I was getting the month before, which was crappy compared to the years before. And I think one of the biggest problems was that YouTube and Google have not done the good job in the ad market in maintaining and making sure that whatever ads are displayed, you know, I don't get them anymore. But I remember when I used to do shortwave radio videos, I would get ads for meet Chinese women. I mean, there was a banner, meet Chinese women. I remember one said, meet Chinese women that are easy. What? What the hell does it have to do with a shortwave radio channel? Now, I don't see those anymore. And I don't see things that are weird anymore. I do still see some banners or ads sometimes that I'm like, what the hell's that? And I'm not sure I like it. It's kind of better. And honestly, in 2018, monetization for me is, I'll be in 2018 making double of what I did in 2017, which was very, very crappy, honestly. And but it's not my best year. My best year yet was 2016. 2016 was my best year ever on YouTube. And I'm not going to make like 2016. So that means I'm making less money in 2016, but twice 2017. Let's cross our finger that 2019 will be a good one. So sorry guys, don't want to divert from YouTube and from radio. Sorry. 5960, I think, is the frequency. Yeah. I'm trying to say there's something in English. I think it's. I'm not sure. I think it's. There's something in English on 5960, anyways. Dave Todd says WeatherFax is strong on 60v39. Authors Alec Crafter's Kitchen and Audiolab. Do manufacturers ever contact you to do radio reviews? Another YouTube shortwave channel plugs an Amazon portal. Okay, you know what, Arthurs? I've had several contacts with different companies, including ICOM. Oh, it's not Matambali 11610. Okay, the light of life. You know, the biggest problem right now is we're still in the mix of schedules. We're still in the mix of schedules, so it's possible that we're not identifying the stations correctly. So here's the thing. You guys know I'm pretty direct to when I want to say that thing's crappy and that's a piece of crap. And one of the things I don't want to sell is my soul. There are so many people that bought receivers because of my honest opinion upon them. I don't want to be associated with a company. The closest I've been was with ICOM, and ICOM turned me down for a very simple reason. Here are the things you cannot say. And I said, I'm sorry. I have viewers that purchase things based on what I said. And I'm sorry. I cannot agree to these terms. I can't. I can't. And you know what? I told them, if you don't want to have me doing bad rant, just send me the good stuff to review. And I'll review it and say it's good. Because I'm sorry, but when you make a radio, don't tell me that the company doesn't already know if it's crappy or not. They know they just sent to the world a crappy radio. They just want to make money and that's it. And that's the reason why I am still here doing that. Okay? That's it. Yeah, Google was fined in Europe, absolutely. For bad practice. Absolutely. Bearware, you never have too much moderators with the way things are happening sometimes. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. Yeah, not enough, absolutely. Keegan is right, not enough. But you know, like I said, there are too many people that bought stuff. But you do have too much power. Google has a lot of power, and it's you know. So welcome aboard, my friend. As a thanks, it's been on hold for a while, but I have some decent antennas out in my location. So thanks for sharing. Pretty cool. Let's all pause for a moment so we can catch up, Bullfrog 89. DJ K Solo, nice to have you here. Nice to have you on board. Cooking dinner. So am I invited? Can I just drop in? Where are we eating tonight? Oh, okay, Arthur's Alleycrafters. So you paid to have your dad's 3 Alleycrafters restored, S40, SX42, and S38. Oh, they must be beautiful. It's so much fun. Max that's strong. If you hear Google drones circling your house, imagine me ranting at Google and YouTube. That is a major issue. I can tell you that. I can tell you that, Max that's strong. There's no other platform like YouTube. That's for sure. Radio Exterior de España in Spanish in less than an hour. That's going to be interesting to listen to. Cheese, ravioli, sausage, and biscuits. I'm there. I'm there. I can tell you. I want to taste that. But you know. Mick Ike says, shortwave listening is pretty extreme in some people's eyes. Yeah. Hey, Maglone. Nice to have you here. Nice to strong. What's wrong with easy Chinese women? I mean, come on. You look at your videos. You look at your videos. And you're like, meet easy Chinese women. What's that? And what the hell is that doing on my shortwave thing? Is it because I posted a video of China Radio International or something? Don't worry, Max, that's fine. I know it's a joke. Hey, Chris Alpha Tango, nice to have you here. Actually, the clock behind me is perfect time. I checked it with WWV just before starting the show. This clock is perfect. It's not 30 seconds fast. When you have to explain it. You know, it's okay. Hey, I'm almost at the end. Mario the Exer says, Jill, I admire you 100% for that. Also for the honesty and all of your radio reviews. I mean, crap is crap. And I'm going to say crap is crap. I cannot say a radio is good because somebody told me once, well, you purchased the radio. You're going to say it's good because you paid money for it. No, I'm going to say it's crap. And if some of you have seen some of my reviews, I remember Tom, Hamrad88, sending me a private message saying, wow, you were hard on one of your receivers that I have, and I don't think it's crappy like you'd say. And I said, it's a total piece of crap. I'm sorry. And I said it, and it is. It is. What the hell you want me to say? It's a piece of crap. I mean, come on, and it wasn't cheap too. It was like $70. $70. Who would be mad? Who wouldn't be mad at buying a $70 radio and it's a piece of crap? I am. I'm mad as hell. I feel like going to the company and saying, "Really? You're selling this crap? Come on." I mean, I can tell you that. I can tell you that. Arthur's Alleycrafter's Kitchen. That makes complete sense, Joe. Maybe I should have your review on my SX42, just getting that shipping in 80 pound. I'll take a plane and go to your part, Arthur's, and we'll review it at your place. Otherwise, Pyongyang on 6400. There's some kind of weak signal, but too weak for me. Need pirates right now, tonight? Let's check that out. Anybody pirating? There's some R2-2I here. But nope. Am I still hearing the buzzer? I get a kick out of the buzzer here. Yeah, still there. 4625. I love listening to the buzzer. Better than a difficult Chinese woman. Let's not talk about that, okay? I'm in some kind of bad moment right now with relationships. So let's change our oh man. I can imagine Chinese women meet easy Western American men. That'd be kind of interesting. You know, JDX says, if it sounds like crap, looks like crap, then it's crap. Crap is crap. You know, sometimes it looks cool, but it's crap. Sometimes it looks like crap, but it's cool. And sometimes it just looks cool and is cool. That's all. You know. Yes, there's a very broad range of topics, and that's what I like about this show. Arthur's Autocrafter's Kitchen says, come visit Central Mass. My kitchen is literally filled with vintage radios. Okay, I'll be there Monday, and we'll tune those radios and do reviews. Tom Dennison, nice to have you here. Says, love the show, watching you from just down the highway in Ottawa. Cool, nice to have you here. Keegan says, 11 seconds delay. Wow, that's nice. Hey, Terry Cook, nice to have you here. Yeah, it's a AFEDRI, A-F-E-D-R-I. If you look it on the internet, A-F-E-D-R-I. So it has 2 outputs. I can plug it upper sideband. USB on the computer. You know, it's difficult for a radio guy that you have a USB port. It's difficult not saying I got an upper sideband port on my computer. So I got a USB port, and so you can actually plug it in direct USB if you want. But it has a Ethernet jack where you can actually have it on your network. And it shows up with its specific IP address. So you set it up, you put the IP address, and in my router here, I've just made sure that it always is assigned that IP. And then you set up HDSDR with the AFEDRI setting, and make sure that you can find it. You gotta give it, you know, because there's the control here. You guys don't see it, I never show it. Look at this. The AFEDRI has this little tool, the SDR network control box. So you got SDR control, you got the command shell, you got the filter tools, you got network. This is the information about the IP. So my AFEDRI is on 192.168.0.125. And it's locked there. And destination IP 192.168.0.108. So you get that to set up. And my router has that information. And you've got the sampling rate and everything. The sampling rate changes the amount of visuals I have. So here it's set up at 666,000 kilohertz, which means I get roughly 600 kilohertz from one side to the other, but I can set that up to 2 megahertz. It depends on if I'm on Wi-Fi or Ethernet, and basically I just set it up to meet, you know, the demand. So this is a desktop that's running this with Windows 7. So right now this could run technically at 2 megahertz spacing if I want to, because it's Ethernet all the way and it's gigabit Ethernet. So it's very, very fast in here. But the problem is, when I get too much of a spectrum display, I find it too small. This is a 32-inch screen, and I find that it's too compressed. I don't like it. I like to have some kind of, you know, and so I find 500 or 600 kilohertz just enough. And so what is cool about this is that because it's on the network, well, I can take one of my laptops. And so, you know, I've got one here, I've got one under D laptop that's running here. I take the laptop, I go in the kitchen, I plug to the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, because on 2.4 gigahertz, it's just not fast enough to give a very nice display. 2.4 N Wi-Fi is too slow to really run the ephedry correctly. But I've got 5 gigahertz here, and so on 5 gigahertz, my laptop connects at something like 600 megabits per second. So it gives me enough space to have a good working ephedry SDR through my home network Wi-Fi, which is super cool. So sometimes I go to bed and I have two choices. I can bring a portable receiver to bed and listen to that, or sometimes I'll bring a laptop to bed and just tune my ephedry through my laptop. The only thing that I miss that I would like to do, I've got this beautiful little 10-inch tablet, Android tablet that I love right here, and I would love to run this on this, but there's no apps or anything that will run it. But I would love to be able to run the ephedry on this thing. That would be great. And the battery life on this tablet is like, 7 hours, 8 hours, compared to my laptops that, when you run HD SDR, my laptop's maximum 2 hours. I need to plug them in to make sure that, they have enough battery life. Oh, hey, Luis Pena. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Let me just go back because I lost the page where I was. So, Jose Luis Pena Sanchez, EC4TR. Nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Well, thank you, Backset Strong. Always nice to do these shows. It's always fun. Keegan Xanny the Exer says some crap devices could have crap combined with the name of the devices. This is the crap TR4. What do you buy that? I have reviewed today the crap TR4, a full shortwave radio that receives nothing. What have you listened to on the crap TR4? Nothing. Why? Because it doesn't work. There's nothing to listen to. That's why it's the crap TR4. It's like there's this Indian car maker in India that has the car Tata or Tate, or I don't know if you'll say it in English, T-A-T-A. Problem is, in French and Quebecois French, T-A-T-A, Tata, means kind of an idiot. So when I see the name of that car, it's like, is that the idiot car? It's just funny. Arthur's Autocrafter's Kitchen. Kitchen because the only room in my house big enough, and it became a cool channel catchphrase. Who is crazy enough to have 70 to 93-year-old radios in the kitchen? Hey, I had my ICOM STR-8500 in the kitchen on my dryer for a couple of years, like I can tell you. Hey, Electronics USA, nice to have you here. And nice to have you on board from the Mojave Desert in Southern California. Yeah, Bobby, USB is a confusing acronym for radio and tech. Well, you know what, Arthur's Alley Crafters, I will check them out, and if your channel is mainly radio, I'll actually review it and make sure that you get more viewers and subscribers. I love watching radio videos. You know, you guys, well, not you guys. You guys are gonna be like, yeah, that's normal. But I get people coming over, and one night, and they arrive and they get into the living room. And I go to the kitchen because I want to prepare the beer and everything because we're going to have a nice evening just talking and listening to music. But I forgot I was actually on a radio channel of a guy that fixes old receivers. So I come back and everybody's like perplexed. And I was like, somebody looks at me and says, what exactly were you looking at on your TV? And I said, oh, sorry, I was looking, that's my geek radio stuff. I was looking at the guy that just fixes old radios. It's just fascinating. And they're all like, uh-huh, okay. And I said, don't mind, okay? We'll put music on now. Just, that's my little bubble, okay? We'll have beer and listen to music and you'll forget about it in a few minutes. Oh, man. Dave Todd says, most of the time I listen to my SDR play during the show. I fired up the old iCommerce 71A. That's a nice receiver. That is a nice receiver, honestly. That is a very nice receiver. Yes, you can also do that on the RTL SDR dongles, absolutely. Dark Noise NL, nice to have you on board, Dark Noise from the Netherlands. What would LSB be in tech rather than in relation to USB? I would say you use an USB port, universal serial bus, but when it fails to connect and the drivers don't work, it becomes the loser serial bus, LSB. How about that? So it works. It's the universal serial bus. It doesn't. It's the loser serial bus. Max Strong says, my Sony 7600 is my favorite bedroom radio. Find the buttons, very easy to feel in the dark. Yeah, there are radios like that you just like the feel. And it happens to all of us that sometimes you just, like touch the radio and know where you are. It could be a limited serial bus. Yeah. I like loser serial bus better when it doesn't work because it just feels like a big loser and it doesn't work. Vancouver Island DXer. Do TV antenna splitters work well for feeding multiple shortwave receivers from the same antenna? The problem with TV antenna splitters is they are not the same impedance as most shortwave radios want. So most amateur gear and shortwave radios on the HF bands are 50 ohms impedance. Most of what is TV antenna splitter is 300 ohms. Now, on the HF band, the loss isn't that much, and it is going to work. But there is a mismatch, so there is going to be some kind of loss. But is it going to be that big? I don't know. Brian Penny says, remember Global HF Weekend starts this week evening. Don't know whether you mentioned this already. Oh, I did. No, I did not. Hey, Mr. Paul is here. If you guys want to see Mr. Cat, come on. People want to see you. Allez, come on. He's looking at me like he's, he wants to have food. If you want to have food and be happy, you got to come here. I know you guys want to see him. So, Let's try to get Mr. Cat here. Hey, come on. So let's force Mr. Cat to be on the show. Let me just take Mr. Cat. Here we go. Here's Mr. Cat. And let's just put the camera. So here's Mr. Cat. Hey, Paul the Cat is here to greet everybody. It's nice to have you on board. And I'm sure everybody's happy to see you. But of course, all he wants is food. Not bad. He's like, just, okay, I'm just going to relax here. So Mr. Paul, here, let's put it a little down. So this is my beer. Let's move the beer out of the way so you guys can see Paul the Cat in my very messy drawer here. And so Mr. Paul the Cat, he's here to greet everybody. And of course, in his mind, he says hi to everyone. Although he doesn't know that he's actually being watched all over the world. He's a star. It's one of those rare cat stars. And now I know I can move away and everybody. So, okay, he's got enough. Here you go. You're going to go. You want to go? No? What do you want to do, man? He's looking at me like, hey, human, come on, don't treat me like this. That's never what you do usually. So, Mr. Paul, look at the camera. Yeah, look how beautiful that cat is. It's a beautiful little cat. Yeah, you are. Everybody loves you. So let's just put it a little higher. A little higher. Here we go. So we are back into the frame. So no, I will actually talk about it, Brian Penny. I didn't even know it was this weekend. Can you share some details, my friend, of a little more details? Least significant bit. Oh yeah, that's true. Least significant bit. I didn't think about that. So Matambale says they tend to have some loss. Yeah. Keegan says I use a VHF UHF antenna as both a TV and FM antenna. In this case, we're on Grundig S4050 DLS. Hey, Douglas Perry, nice to have you on board from Ontario, Canada. 11680 for Pyongyang. Do I have anything here? 11680. There's something, but it's in the noise here. Capital City and Professionals. Do you know about all SDRs? I know about some SDRs. All SDRs, no. What else do we have? What else do we have? Let us. Oh, that's cool, Arthur Alicrafters. I'll look at your channel later and actually review it and post it online. Give you a few more viewers if you want. I'll be happy. I like to share the viewers. I like to share with everybody. Other people that have radio channels. Somebody told me a couple of years back, why do you share other people's videos, radio videos? And I said, if I can help somebody else with their channel, why not? I'm not the only guy that has radio videos on YouTube. It's not a competition here. I got a channel. I got a fairly popular shortwave channel, but I don't understand why I shouldn't talk about other YouTube channels. Max Strong says, I tried to explain shortwave show at a staff meeting a few weeks ago. Lots of blank stares. Johnny the Xer says, loser cereal bus. Oh, God. Oh, you got an R71A, a Kenmore 2000, Realistic DX200. If I'm going to Massachusetts, I'm going to tell you one thing. We need to meet. I might never leave your home. Oh, God. SBC 383ZZ. Hey there. Says, why I watch Mr. Paul. I know. That's all what you want. He's got his eyes on your beer. Oh, man. Yeah, because they have the transformers. That changes everything. Absolutely. If they're just splicing the cables, but if they do contain the transformers, I think these are the ones that are 300 ohms because of that kind of transformer they put in it, for sure. Wow, authors, Ali Crafters remembers when Paul was known as DX. What's Paul's favorite Ethernet cable? The Cat 5. I like that. I like that. PW3 UK, nice to have you on board. Says Paul wants his dinzins. Oh yeah, you know what? He's just funny. I love him. But last night it was raining. Usually at 4 or 5 a.m. he goes out. He'd asked me to go out, so I just get up from bed, open the door, goes out, and we're okay. But the problem is, last night it was raining. He didn't want to go out. So every 10 minutes he would come back in bed and said, hey, how are you doing? It's because humans are sleeping at 4 a.m. I know cats are not, but humans are. But you know, I love them. William Helms, nice to have you here. I hope I said hi, William Helms in front of you, in the beginning. I can't remember. William Helms says 50 ohms, a TV transformer goes around 400 megahertz. That's near the 70 rand. VHF drops out bad unless you use it as a trap from long wire. So yeah, that's interesting. But you know what? I used a TV antenna, I think, as a shortwave antenna when I was in my teenage years. Honestly. Keegan says the TV antenna I use for shortwave is a UHF antenna. Works with higher shortwave frequencies. An FM antenna I use with rotor control works also as a shortwave antenna for the lower shortwave frequencies. Kind of interesting. Interesting. Kettle City and Professional. I have an RTL SDR with a built-in up converter for HF, and for some reason I'm not receiving anything, and I get a lot of noise on UHF and VHF. Did you install the specific special driver? Because one of the things, so if you have a Windows machine, you've got to install Zadig. There's a thing called Zadig, Z-A-D-I-J. It's a special driver that will replace what Windows wants to actually install on the PC. And I'll continue walking while I open the door for Paul the Cat to get out. So when you install the Zadig driver, that's when it works. If you're not getting anything, maybe you're not getting or haven't installed a specific driver. That's the first step. You need the specific driver. The second thing that you need to know is that the up converter will need a offset in the software that you're using. And I don't know what software you're using, but you will need to set an offset. Usually it's minus 40 megahertz, or it depends. Honestly, it depends on what you've got. On the here is the Soft 66. This is minus 40 megahertz. So by doing that, you get the shortwave bands, because what happens in a up converter system is that the up converter takes shortwave signals and sends them to your RTL SDR in a VHF range where you can listen in, because technically it's not supposed to listen in to shortwave. So that's why we call it up converter. It takes the signal and it's ups it to the range that your radio can receive. In this case is the RTL SDR. So two things you need to make sure you've got. You got to plug it in. Once it's detected, you use the Zadig driver. It will replace that driver with a special driver that you can use to tune in the frequencies you want. Then you need to have the possibility of adding the offset for the shortwave bands for that up converter. So I don't know if you're following me a little bit. Well, no problem, Arthur. I will gladly review your channel. You know, anybody that has a YouTube channel I haven't talked about, I gladly review it. All you need to is to let me know what's your channel. It needs to be, the majority of channels needs to be, of videos on your channel needs to be radio related, okay? Okay, if you have a few other videos, as long as they're not controversial, like, you know, I don't know, kill all cats, for example. This guy's got like, you know, 30 radio videos. Oh, this is cool. And now let's kill all the cats in the world. Okay. I don't think I'll review your channel, okay, because that last video was not really interesting. But, I mean, if your channel has down-to-earth videos, because a lot of channels are reviewed and helped, honestly, was to simply, you know, help out. And they don't have just radio videos. A lot of those channels have other videos mixed in. As long as it's okay content, and the majority of the videos are radio related, you know, I got no problem with that. So, what else do we have? I never leave the house, says Arthur. So Brian Penny, sorry. Whole weekend long pirate radio. Yeah. It's pirate radio weekend with the global. Let me just check it out here. I'm gonna share the link. We're gonna check that out. So global HF. Thanks for talking about it. Because I mean it's yeah, 3 to 5 November. There's a Facebook page actually on it. So global HF. Be prepared for HF Pirate Weekend. So this weekend is Global HF Pirate Weekend. This is cool. So I'll post this. This is a old one. This is the one from early this year. Oh, here we go. Here is a HF Underground post. And we'll post a link. And thanks, Brian, for bringing this up, because I just didn't know that this was this weekend. I remember reading about it and totally forgot. So here's the information for anybody that wants it. I'll post it in the chat. Here we go. So pirate weekends, and by the way, that means pirates can pop up anywhere. Last time was in March, and there was Cupid Radio from the Netherlands on 15070 that was coming into North America. So check HF Underground, because you'll see a lot of pirates show up. There's usually more activity in the global HF Pirate Weekend like this. Thanks, Brian, for bringing this to our attention. Much appreciated, my friend. Paul P says, buzzer strongest I've ever heard on our portable in England tonight. Log Mr. Paul, he stole the show. He does steal the show, I know. I know he needs his own show, I know. Hey, F4IDL, bonjour de la France. Bonjour du Québec. JN15NJ. Nice to have you here. The Paul DX the Cat Show. That'd be nice. I always wondered how many times, one experiment I thought of doing once is doing a channel called something like Day in the Life of Paul the Cat, and do videos every day of his different little things that he does, and see how much time does it take for a cat channel to get to the 100 subscriber count that is required, the 1,000 subscribers, sorry, 1,000 subscriber count required for monetization. and maybe it would beat all of my channels. Like, you know, I would live off Paul the Cat being popular on YouTube. Maybe I'd be millionaire with Paul the Cat. Only extra nice chair. Yeah, I got 2 of them. I got another one there that I never use, but it's there. So when this one is just, you know, too old, I'll have the other one to go through. Copyright Mr. Cat. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, man. We all love DX. I know everybody loves DX. Bobby Burgess says, when RTL is DR, I had a new elect ham it up converter. Yeah, that one is 125 megahertz. It depends on what device you have. Okay. And what's the name, the full name? So RTL is DR, and what's the, because there must be a name for it because it has the up converter. Is it the ham it up? What is it exactly? Arthur Solid Crafter's Kitchen. He's just the nicest cat, and I'm not a pet person at all, but he seems very sweet. He's wonderful, honestly. Wonderful. Alan W., nice to have you here. Beautiful cat, the favorite choice pet of ham. Shortwave listeners, you notice that the over the horizon from Cyprus seems to be very noticeable on the HF bands these days. Well, if you're talking about that buzzing that comes out, I've actually noticed a lot of it in the different parts of the bands in the past couple of weeks, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Fastload, nice to have you here. Thing is, I need to figure out how to upload FM, AM, medium wave, shortwave reception audio to YouTube. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't have, honestly, it doesn't have to be just shortwave. Honestly, it doesn't have to be just shortwave. If your channel has radio videos, I did say just radio videos. It doesn't matter if it's shortwave. It can be medium wave or long wave. You could be a long wave, you know, nut that just wants to do long wave stuff. I will review it. I will review it. Hey, Fastload. 3rd radio ham course tomorrow morning. Cool, Fastload. It's gonna be nice to see you have your ham license before me. Radio Exterior España in English in 11 minutes, guys. 9690 is the frequency. Is it coming in well right tonight? It's pretty good. Not super strong, but that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. Bullfrog 89 say, yeah, make money off Paul videos, and then you can get sued by some animal rights group. No, I will not, because if I make money off of Paul, Paul will be treated as a royal cat. Well, it is radio related because your magnetron is a transmitter. I mean, the magnetron in your microwave oven would be more suited for the VHF UHF show, but it is a 2.45 gigahertz transmitter, basically. Is it really worth it to replace a magnetron? I guess you got it for really cheap, because I mean, you just, you know, microwaves are so cheap today. Take care of Vancouver Island DXer. Always nice to have you on board, and welcome aboard among the moderators, Brian. Have a great night. Mine is a black box that shows a waterfall spectrum across the top. It says UVHF below. RT, okay. It was given to me, and that's all I know. Okay, interesting. Is it a what was that? A black box, UV and HF. What was the man? I forgot the name. That SDR that I promoted. 7570. Let's check it out, Richard. There's something weak, but it's not making it, Richard. Yeah, you showed us the Bobby, the new elect. So this is the new elect hammered up that Bobby Burgess has. Max Estron said, I never heard of repairing a microwave. Kudos to you. Well, he's good with electronics and stuff. So basically, $45 worth of shot. Mind you, my microwave costs over $600. It's a combo with induction. And yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's a good one. So it might be worth the $45 of the magnetron. I totally understand. My microwave was a Panasonic that was 25 years old, and I mean, you look on the internet, it's like, yeah, okay, $149. Let's just get a microwave. So you're watching the Shortwave show, and let me just for those one last time, if you like what I do, PayPal.me/Shortwave. It's a great place to be, where you can actually send me a little donation if you like, if you enjoy what I do. It's always a lot of fun to receive your donations, help me out. Let me just check. Somebody sent me an email with a question, so we'll be answering that. So anyways, it's you can help me out. It's always a great pleasure to get help. If you enjoy what I do, please do so, and that's why I'm here. Not only donations, of course. I love what I do, and it's kind of cool to have everybody here. So I'll close that. No more money and donation stuff for tonight. So 9690 is not super strong, but in 7 minutes we're supposed to have Spain in English. Spain, Radio Exterior de España, has come back in English on the shortwave bands. One of the rare, very, very, very rare moments where a shortwave station actually decided. Oh, please, you know what? Capital City and Practitioners, send a picture to official shortwave radio at gmail.com. Okay, send me the picture there. I'll be looking at it. And can we have Paul the Cat's PayPal and Patreons? He gets like $20,000. It's like, okay. I get it, man. Radio DXer. Oh God. So send me the picture, Capital City. Official shortwave radio at gmail.com. I'm gonna check it out. So we have Susan in California that always checks in through email, and she hasn't checked in a long time. She says, "Hey Jill, hope you're doing well. You look great. It's always fun to watch your shows." And she says that she's going to so she's taking a trip. Oh, okay, she's taking a trip to Asia. She says she'll be doing Thailand and Cambodia and a few countries around there. And she says if I have a recommendation of should I bring a shortwave radio with me or not. You know what? The problem with the shortwave radio, for a lot of countries, it's not a problem. When you get to the border, that's the most difficult thing because they don't know what that box with buttons is, and you have to show them what it is. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure I would bring a radio with me if I'd go to. I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think? You go on vacation or you go somewhere, especially in countries like, I mean, going to Thailand or Cambodia or Vietnam. She wants to go to Vietnam also. I don't know. Do you bring a radio with you? Would you be scared of bringing a radio with you? That's a really good question. I mean, at customs, when are we gonna just, you know? It's kind of, I don't know. Bobby Burgess got it strong 96.90. Cat sales. a catastrophe. We want Paul. We want Paul. So, well, I just posted my email, Capital City. Can you just send me the picture? I'll look on my my phone. And we'll check it out. For the giving frequencies. Oh, yeah, Texas. You know, I would bring my and as a travel radio, I would bring my Texan PL380. It's a great radio, and it's in a price range that if I would get it stolen, or if I lose it, well, it's not much of a problem. I can buy another one. Huh. I can wait to see Spain in English. 9690. 9690. I'm going to check that out. You know, I would go to a country and just buy a radio there. Official shortwave radio at gmail.com. It's in the chat. I posted it in the chat. Just go up and look in the chat. So this is going to be interesting. Arthur Zollicrafter says PL600 would be my travel set. Well, if I had a short travel set, I think I would bring the PL680. This would be my radio. So I would bring that with me. I can tell you that. That would be probably what I would bring with me, and you know. TOT says I always take my radios with me, Biofeng radios and the radio scanner, my 660 shortwave radio. Though security, they look at them and ask what they are and why I have them. Yeah, because I think, you know, it's just they want to know what that is, because obviously they don't really have an idea of what it is, and they're wondering what you're bringing in the country. TOT says, I answer and say it's a hobby. Obviously, don't say you're listening to cops. Yeah, no, of course. But, you know, just like, you know, I'm listening. It's my hobby. I listen to local AM, FM stations, stuff like that. Do a little airport demonstration. Look, I'm listening to local stations. That's it. You know, honestly. It's Richard Cook has 9690, but very weak. That's maybe a way to do it. Listening to amateur radio. Okay.
English language service.
English language. One of the biggest problems I have with 9690 is the fact that it's using 9690. Radio Exterior España is using a high frequency. This I will not hear in December and January unless there's higher selectivity. This frequency is way too high. They should have used a 49 meter band frequency. They used to be on 6055. They should have used that. Would have been better in propagation. Look at how weak it is. S7, S8. So they just said English, but there's nothing more than that right now. Terry Cook says S5, S7 in Montana for radio exterior on 9690. Theo says, then in the hotel I talked to the maids on the radios. LN321, nice to have you here. Kirk Weber, are you doing your other computer shows? No. I took a break from that. It's not worth it, and it's too much energy and time for what's not worth it. I'm taking a break from that. Keegan says, I may need to wait around until 0 UT to check the shortwave band. Still listening to NPR News. I should have to use another radio to multitask. Might be skipping, getting strong in Louisiana. But you're south. The propagation of the ionosphere isn't the same at different latitudes. It's good in the south, but in the north, it also could be the way that they beam the signal, making it weaker here. I'd like to know what's the beaming of the signal from Spain on 9690. So it's in English, but there's only music right now. No problem, Kirk Weber. You know, you do live shows on what's really, really worth it, and it's a lot of you know. So no more mini wheat. No more mini wheat fast. No more mini whip. I'd like a cereal called Mini Whip. It's nice that it's in English, but it's only music. Crazy Screaming Preacher on 7780. Yeah, he's there all the time. Oh, man. William Helms, a Chinese bus driver accidentally loses his bus over a bridge after a passenger angrily wails for him to be, what the hell? Okay. Yeah, Kirk, absolutely. You know, I mean, it takes a lot of time, and when it doesn't pay off, well, at some point you're like, what am I doing this? You know, it's not. I am sad about one thing. I'm sad about one thing, and it's the fact that a lot of people that were on my tech channel were a lot of fans, and were really big fans and happy to be together. It was like a family. And basically, I'm sad for that, but you know, I can't just justify that I'm going to do a show. You know, at the last month and a half I did that show, Kirk, I was doing it, and I was like just so I was not into it. I didn't want to do it. I felt, you know, yeah, I saw it, Capital City. Can anybody identify this this SDR? What's that? Anybody knows what's that? There's nothing written on it on the other side, my friend. I don't know what's that. I've never seen that one. So, unfortunately, the signal is getting too weak on 9690 here. It does look like the DX Patrol but it's bigger. That thing is bigger. The DX Patrol was a little square. That is a rectangle. Fidget 100 kilohertz, 1.7 gigahertz full band UVHF. Oh, RTL SDR USB tuner. Okay, receiver R820T plus 8232 ham radio. Ah, okay. So, okay. So you've got the Fidget 100 kilohertz to 1.7 gigahertz receiver or HDR, SDR, RTL SDR thing. So you need to find information, my friend, about the Fidget 100 kilohertz to 1.7 gigahertz. It does look like the DX Patrol, absolutely fast load. You know what? When he talked about it, at a moment I thought about the DX Patrol. I thought maybe that's what you have, but it is different. Well, I'm glad to see you, Kirk Weber. It's nice to have you on board, and you know, absolutely, you can't have fun doing something you don't feel like doing. Honestly, they're all the same. Don't really like them. They overload quite easily with adjacent strong signals. Yeah, you got to set them up really well in order for them to work. What I would say is, but they do have, most of them, because not all the up converters have the same offset for the up converter. So that's one thing you got to know. So I don't know. So maybe you can Google that information, honestly. I think you can have information there, but I think it's all in the way that you set it up. At the basics, you know, it's an RTL SDR. Sorry, I was thinking. And sometimes when you think, when you have an RTL SDR, most of them are used as ZADIG drivers. So you have to go to download the ZADIJ. If you download the SDR Sharp, by the way, in the folder for the SDR Sharp, you have a ZADIG file, a ZADIG executable. You click on it and it installs and replaces the driver. Because that's the first thing. Have you heard at all any signal, or it's like totally zero? Because if you don't have the good driver, what happens is it defaults to some kind of weird sound card thing. And it looks weird, and it's just noisy, and there's nothing there. Miguel Almaj says 9690 Radio Exterior Hispanic English is good, but monotone mix could be better between interviewer and interviewee. Yeah, I hear it in English right now.
Of the symbol, which is and the personal marketing is like that isn't possible actually to mix like to get out from the well and to just get out from the our country.
So Radio Exterior España. Bullfrog 89 not getting anything in Albany on 9690. It is possible that it's skipping over. Maybe it has one bounce and it has a bounce and it bounced over me. Because it's not super strong, honestly. And it'd be interesting to tune in regularly. Next week I'll try to tune in every night. For those who wonder, it's English on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So Fastload says his favorite combo, the FRG7 and the Whistler TRX1. They're great radios. Honestly, they're really great radios. Richard Cook has 7570, really strong, which is WRMI. Anything here? Nope. It's there, but it's not very strong. Okay. So, hey everybody. We've been here for what, 3 hours and 10 minutes? Not too bad. We've checked Radio Exterior de España in English. Look, tomorrow we will be live again at 2000 hours UTC. So you can join us once again tomorrow for another Shortwave show. And hope that you enjoy. We'll be trying out pirates because, I mean, well, it's not Voice of Korea I've got here, Richard. I've got a station on 7570, but it's WRMI, I'm pretty sure, because there's a station. Unless it is. Maybe it's possible. Maybe you're right, Richard. I did it really quick. It's possible that what I'm hearing is Korea. So tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. Take care, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Without you guys, there would be no shows. We've been, 3 hours and 11 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. And hope that you guys are going to join again tomorrow as we'll tune in the bands. Global HF Pirate Weekend. Thanks to Brian for letting us know. We will tune pirates tomorrow. It's a big pirate radio weekend after the big pirate Halloween night. Take care, everybody. Alan W says, hearing 9690 in Ireland. Just telescopic antenna on Texan PL660. Cool. And hey, Spain is back in English. That's kind of cool, honestly. Take care, everybody. Love you all. And of course, we will fade out. Hope you enjoyed the show today, but it's always fun to do this. Take care. Bye-bye.